breed has its largest implantation in the Trás-os-Montes region in the north of Portugal. The pig belonging to this breed has very peculiar and distinctive characteristics. This animal descends from the Celtic branch and is a quite big animal. It can be black, white or with spots. Their ears droop and slant forward, the body is long and they have an arched torso. The carcass of the Bísaro pig has more muscle than body fat, thus originating a very specific kind of meat, with less bacon but quite good for belly slices. Its taste is enhanced by what these animals eat. Its feeding regime is therefore rich and varied in order to influence the meat's taste. The Bísaro farm is located in Gimonde, a few kilometers away from Bragança, in the middle of the Montezinho Natural Park. This farm has 2 Bísaro swine open-air explorations. One of it is located in the Quinta das Covas in Gimonde, the other one in Castro Vicente, no Douro. Around 1,000 pigs live in both of these properties. In fact, freedom is one of the most important factors for the healthy growth and development of the breed. Its feeding regime is based on natural products, many of them produced locally, in the fields belonging to the explorations. Oat, lucerne, beet, as well as flowers and animal feed made with these products in previously adjusted quantities. The way these animals are handled follows rigorous historical traditions and teachings from the past. The relation with pigs was nearly familiar. The homemade vianda was many times served as a hot meal, with cooked potatoes, wheat, cabbage, turnip or pumpkin. Pigs were very well treated by humans and were grown on local produce only. All of this because these pigs had a very important role in the annual food supply of the families. At first, smoked sausages were made, and soon after, other cuts of the pig, such as hams and smoked and salted parts of the meat were made. Traditional slaughtering of the pig was a family and friends gathering opportunity. Still today, this day is regarded as a festivity. The gastronomy of the northeastern region in Portugal is still much based on menus built with the excellence of pork. The Alberto João Suinicultura Company, in cooperation with a group of researchers, decided to promote a study on the characteristics of the Bísaro pig based on well-defined objectives. The idea came from the assumption that a better feeding regime originated a higher meat quality. 150 animals with different weight and regime were chosen from different groups. This study is the most comprehensive ever performed with the Bísaro breed. The sample, which is composed of 150 pigs with different weights starting from 180 kilos, will study the most relevant characteristics of the meat, taking into account the several diets. The groups were established between diets with oat, turnips, corn and chestnuts. These diets will result in distinctive meats, thus originating its differentiation. This data is not only important for readers, but also for consumers. The process is analyzed in the Bragança Municipal Slaughterhouse. The research team carried out different measurements in different parts of the carcass. An ultrasound device was used to assess that. The objective was to find out the thickness of back fat and the depth of the different muscles. Everything is thoroughly registered and catalogued. At this stage, several pH measurements of the slaughter are done and repeated after 24 hours in a 4 degrees refrigerator. The process continues with the selective cutting and weighing of the various parts that make up the carcass. The physical color as well as water activity are also measured. All the cuts are packed separately and then proceed to the laboratory, where the analysis to the meat continues with even more precise and predefined requirements. In the laboratory, everything is checked in detail. The pieces are cut into its several components: muscle, bone and fat, and several tests are run on each of these parts. All the muscles of the leg and loin go through a specific quality analysis. After this, the ham must be taken care of. In the lab, there are samples of cured ham at their several cure stages: 6, 12, 18 and 24 months. The cuts will now go through several stages of analysis, namely pH measurement, natural shine, the indexes of yellow and red in the meat, the texture of tenderness. Apart from that, salt levels, water activity and global fat, both saturated and unsaturated, are measured, and also the fatty acids. This last stage in the lab analyzes fat, humidity and protein. All of these using near-infrared spectroscopy with highly precise machinery. Finally, in another special area, sensorial analysis is carried out using a group of tasters. Through a questionnaire, people determine the appearance, aroma, flavor and texture of the meat. Using a consumer panel, the meat goes through more testing, which will result in the global appreciation of the product. They will decide if they like the meat or not, based on a series of variables such as appearance, flavor and texture. The tasting panel and the consumer panel comprise the so-called complementary testing, which results in the sensorial map of the product. After following the pig's growth for several months, organized by weight in feeding regime groups, after a long and rigorous physical and chemical analysis to the several animal cuts, conclusions indicate that Bísaro pigs fed with traditional food and fed with chestnuts in the fattening period originated tastier meat. This pork meat also receives more sensorial appraisal among consumers. Currently, Bísaro meat is valued as a raw material for the certified regional smoked goods, for instance the salpicão sausage, the neck loin, meat sausage, ham, alheira, azedo sausage, sweet sausage or the butelo. Bísaro meat has become the choice product for gourmet cuisine, chosen by selected chefs bearing Michelin stars and who only choose the best. The Bísaro meat from Trás-os-Montes holds protected designation of origin.